Hi and welcome. My name is Karen Spencer and my business is called It Can Be Different. And it is focused on helping smart, passionate adults who are going through a tough time with anxiety. I name my business It Can Be Different because I truly believe life can be different for anyone struggling with anxiety. Let me tell you, anxiety is not a life sentence. My practice is centered on my proprietary coaching model that deals with emotions, thinking, and behavior in an integrated approach that is guaranteed to relieve the symptoms of anxiety in as little as 3 months. So let me ask you, do you find that you can talk about your anxiety with great clarity to just about anyone and yet you still struggle with it? Do you wish that you could feel better now and not wait for some future date? And are you done with having negative emotions show up inappropriately and in ways that are not congruent with the situation at hand? If you answered yes to any of these questions, I believe that my personal story will give you hope and inspiration and maybe even the answer to what should I do next. Anxiety has been a companion of mine for more than 30 years. Back in my 20s, I felt that it was my type A personality. I felt that I was a workaholic, that I needed to be stressed to be on top of my game. It was really an internal battle. No one really knew what was going on for me, and I really felt it was the way I needed to be to get ahead. And then as the years passed, I moved into my 30s. I was now facing motherhood, mortgage, and managing children. And my anxiety went to the next level. No longer was I able to keep it just inside of myself. It was starting to creep out into my relationships. It put a strain on my marriage, and it really limited my ability to be present with my children. And that is the most devastating part of this whole story for me, is my inability to be present with my children at their young age, and is what I regret the most. Now add in some more responsibilities, some career moves, and my children moving into teenagers, my anxiety would show up externally even bigger. I was triggered by just about anything. I noticed that it would not last only days now, it would last weeks. I would struggle with sleeplessness, I would be in severe panic, my thinking became extremely foggy, and I would pace. I was a very good ruminator. I would walk up and down the hallway pacing over just about any negative thought that would be in my mind. So at the end of my 40s, I decided that I would handle my anxiety through medication. It was upon the advice of my doctor and a counselor that this was the path that I chose. Medication was good for me. It helped me, it calmed me. It gave me a life that was much simpler and one that I was rather foreign to. I decided that I would stay on my medication for many years. But after a number of years, my body started to show me that I needed to come off. My life was in a good place at that time, and I thought that this would be the right thing to do. After I came off, life happened, as it always does, and a new challenge showed up. This time it was the challenge of my father's ailing health and his impending passing away. And because I had not dealt with the root of my anxiety, guess what? It was back. But this time it was back even bigger. And no longer was I stretching for one anxiety medication. I was being prescribed 4. No longer was I needing or seek the help only of my family doctor. I needed to be hospitalized. I had not dealt with the source of my anxiety, the root cause of my anxiety, and I was back at square one. So there is a saying that is darkest before the dawn. Well, my dawn came by me running into an old friend of mine, a friend that knew me very well and knew that I was not holding it all together. She asked me what was going on. I shared with her my father's story, but I also shared with her my struggle with anxiety. And she told me she knew of a woman who practiced a method of coaching that she was sure could help me, to help me get to the root of what was causing my problems. I was able to meet with this woman, and she shared with me something that I share now with my clients. And that is that we show up in life based on our programming that sits in our unconscious mind. And if we are struggling with something like anxiousness, it is because our programming is getting triggered by life events. She then asked me this: since I cannot control the world around me, wouldn't it be better to control my response to the world? When I answered the obvious yes to that question, she said, great. Because now that you're going to change your response, it will be easy and effortless, and your life will be different. People frequently ask me, is your anxiety gone? I tell them I don't think about it being gone or here. What I do think about is my decision made years ago to change the part of me that was feeding it with my negative programming. With this life coaching, I successfully journeyed towards managing my anxiety, as opposed to having my anxiety manage me. My hope for you is that you too find your way towards realizing it can be different.